A woman had been faking a disability for 3 years, all to test her fiancé's love. But on the eve of their wedding, she was about to discover a betrayal so cruel it would shatter her world and ignite a furious quest for revenge. With a hopeful smile on her face, she told her father that her wedding was the next day. She said she could finally stop pretending and stand up from her wheelchair. But her father, who was secretly the richest man in the world, told her to wait. He explained that the test wasn't over yet. He advised her to stand up at the wedding to give her fiancé the ultimate surprise. He promised that at that moment, he would reveal his own identity and give her a wedding grander than she could ever imagine. Her powerful brothers chimed in, each one a titan in their own right. With the full backing of her formidable family, she felt like the luckiest woman alive and eagerly headed off to see her beloved fiancé. But her world came crashing down when she found him in bed with none other than her best friend. The friend purred that it had been 3 years. She asked if he had really never touched that cripple. He scoffed, saying of course he had not. He mentioned that she was saving herself for their wedding night and questioned if someone so old-fashioned still existed. Just when she thought the betrayal couldn't get any deeper, they revealed their sinister plan. The friend asked what would happen with the wedding the next day. A wicked grin spread across his face as he confirmed that of course it was happening. He confessed that he had taken out a massive life insurance policy on her. He exclaimed that the moment she died, they would be rich beyond their wildest dreams. She overheard everything. Mustering all her strength, she confronted them, but they just laughed in her face. Her so-called best friend asked with a smug look on her face what she was doing there. She claimed they were just helping her prepare for her big day. He added with a sneer, asking what the matter was. He questioned why a cripple like her was suspicious of him. He stated that he hadn't even dumped her yet, so what right did she have to question him? His cruel words were the final straw. She screamed with a voice full of anguish that if it wasn't for saving him, she would never have been injured and would not be in that wheelchair. But they just told her to get ready for the wedding or to call it off. Humiliated and heartbroken, she rolled away, a new fire of vengeance burning in her eyes. Her voice trembling but firm, she told her father that the next day's wedding was off. She was turning it into a divorce banquet. Her father did not hesitate for a second. He questioned what his daughter meant about him cheating on her. He declared he would cancel the dowry of $100 billion and every business deal he had given his family, vowing to crush them. She replied not to worry. She promised that on their wedding day, she would be there to personally trample them into the ground. Just as she hung up, a thief snatched her bag. Suddenly, a handsome stranger stepped out of a luxury car, effortlessly taking down the thief with a single punch. He warned the thief not to dare cause trouble, his voice as cold as steel. As he turned to face her, she was left speechless, unaware that this mysterious man was about to change her life forever. After a thief stole her bag, the disabled woman was rescued by a mysterious stranger. The stranger handed back her bag, his eyes filled with a concern she had not seen in years. He asked in a gentle voice if she was all right. He then asked what had happened to her legs. She explained that her legs were weak, and if she stood for too long, she risked being paralyzed for life. The man, moved by her story, offered to help in any way he could. She stated that he could help, as a bold idea formed in her mind. She asked him to marry her and take care of her. But she was not joking. She told him, her voice tinged with bitterness, that she had once saved a man's life and he had still betrayed her. She expressed that she now had no hope that any man would want to marry her. Without a moment's hesitation, he looked at her and said it was fine. The woman was stunned, but a glimmer of hope sparked within her. With a new resolve in her voice, she agreed that she would marry him. She told him that if he truly married her, she would make him the most powerful man in the world. He simply smiled, unaware that she was the daughter of the world's richest man. He introduced himself as Ethan Sterling. And with that, he called his mother and announced that she should not set him up on any more dates because he was getting married the next day. As Ethan prepared for the wedding, his associates were in disbelief. They mockingly asked if he was really going to marry a disabled woman, the daughter of a mere cleaner. But he was resolute. He stated that his mind was made up and told them not to question him again. The next day, at the lavish wedding venue, the groom and his mother could not hide their contempt. The bride, pushed by her treacherous best friend, was subjected to their taunts. The groom scoffed, asking if she thought she was worthy of this wedding or worthy of being his bride. She demanded to know what he meant. He retorted that she was a cripple and asked if she really thought he was not good enough for her. But she had had enough. Her voice ringing with newfound strength, she stated that he was correct. She declared that he was not worthy, and in fact, he was not worthy of anything. With that, she announced that this was not a wedding banquet, but a divorce banquet. The crowd erupted in chaos. A procession of musicians entered, and the real bride made her grand entrance, ready to claim her prize. The ultimate betrayal was about to be laid bare for all to see. At her own wedding, she was publicly humiliated and replaced by her treacherous best friend. But just when they thought they had won, her true love, a powerful CEO, arrived to turn this sham wedding into a stage for the ultimate revenge. The new bride, radiating arrogance, walked down the aisle to stand by the groom's side. The guests murmured, shocked by the sudden turn of events, and wondered what was going on. The groom's mother, however, was delighted. With a cruel smile, she asked if it was not obvious. The best friend, now the bride, seized the opportunity to humiliate her further. She sneered that she was a self-made woman backed by a powerful corporation. She then asked what the jilted bride was, calling her an orphan and a burden. She claimed that if she had not taken pity on her, she would be dead in a ditch, and questioned what right she had to be her friend. The jilted bride, her eyes filled with tears of rage, was about to speak when her former best friend held a public vote. She announced for everyone to see who they thought the groom should marry. She told them to raise their hand if they supported her. To her horror, nearly every hand in the room shot up. The crowd cheered for the new bride, chanting her name, leaving the woman in the wheelchair utterly alone and defeated. The friend whispered venomously, telling her that she was nothing but a pathetic stray dog. The groom and his mother demanded that she be thrown out. The guests, eager to please, rushed forward to drag her away. She screamed, fighting back with all her might, but she was completely overpowered. Suddenly, the doors burst open. A team of assistants entered, carrying priceless gifts. They announced that the CEO of the Sterling Corporation was there with a dowry of $10 billion to propose to Miss Chloe Hayes. Through the smoke, a handsome, powerful man emerged, his eyes fixed on only one person, the woman they had just tried to cast aside. The tables had turned, and the real drama was just beginning. He got down on one knee, offering her 50% of his entire company as a wedding gift. Without hesitation, she accepted, calling him her new husband. Her original fiancé was furious. He screamed at the CEO, calling him a low-class actor, and then turned on the bride, mocking her for being a worthless cripple in a wheelchair. But the CEO just smirked. He revealed that the real scumbag was the fiancé, a man who had cheated on the woman who once saved his life. He gave him one chance: kneel and apologize, or have his dirty secrets exposed to everyone. The fiancé just laughed and dared him to do it. It was a big mistake. The CEO made a single phone call, and suddenly, a giant screen played a video of the fiancé in a hotel room with another woman, the bride's own sister. Caught red-handed, the fiancé shamelessly admitted it, screaming that he despised the bride and was only with her out of pity. Just as the crowd gasped in shock, the woman in the wheelchair began to laugh. With a smile, she questioned if she was a worthless cripple. They all mocked her, daring her to stand up if she was not. And to their absolute horror, that is exactly what she did. She rose from her wheelchair, perfectly healthy, and walked toward them as they stared in stunned silence. She had never been paralyzed at all. Panicking, the sister flipped the script and accused the bride of faking her injury for 3 years just to trick the fiancé into marrying her. Now the fiancé screamed that he was the victim, demanding she pay him $1 million for his trouble. The entire crowd erupted, chanting for her to pay up. But this bride was not about to back down. She calmly told him she had something for him and handed him a file. It was a medical bill for $31 million. She stated that this was what it cost to save his life 3 years ago, and told him to pay her back first. The fiancé and his mother just laughed in her face. They claimed a poor nobody like her could never afford treatment at the city's most exclusive hospital. They accused her of forging the documents and grabbed a phone to call the police, ready to have her arrested for fraud. But just as they dialed, the CEO stepped forward to protect her. Enraged, the bride's sister offered a cash reward to anyone in the crowd who would seize her. As the greedy guests rushed forward, the CEO issued a chilling warning that whoever touched her that day would make an enemy of the Sterling family. The fiancé scoffed, calling him a fake. To prove it, they brought out a man whose father was supposedly a director at the Sterling Corporation. The man called his dad Liv, asking if the real CEO was getting married. The voice on the phone said no, explaining the CEO was not even dating anyone. Thinking they had won, they all started laughing, calling the CEO a liar. But he just smirked and asked for the father's name. The man proudly stated the name was Mr. Miller, daring the CEO to fire him if he was so powerful. And that is exactly what he did. With a single phone call, the CEO ordered Mr. Miller to be fired immediately for his son's insolence. But they still did not believe him, mocking him for marrying the trash that they had thrown away. That is when the bride fired back, reminding them all that she was the one who had dumped him after catching him cheating. The fiancé's mother mocked the bride, saying her father was probably too ashamed to even show his face at the wedding. But the bride calmly replied that her father was just running late because he was picking up a $10 billion ring for her new husband. Everyone burst out laughing, shocked by her shameless lie. The fiancé scoffed, telling the CEO to stop the act and follow through on his empty threat to get the man's father fired. They all started howling with laughter, begging the CEO to fire him. But just as they were all mocking him, the man's phone rang. His face went pale. He screamed in terror, then collapsed to the ground. He cried that his dad had just been fired, and that the man really was the CEO of the Sterling Group. The fiancé was stunned. The man who had challenged the CEO fell to his knees, begging for forgiveness. But the CEO coldly declared that anyone who offended his wife deserved to go to hell and never recover. Just as the fiancé was reeling from the shock, the police finally arrived. He eagerly pointed to the bride, accusing her of faking her injury and then forging a multi-million-dollar medical bill to extort him. The officer took the file and scoffed. He explained that only the country's most powerful people, dignitaries, and national heroes were treated at that exclusive hospital. He looked at the bride and asked just who she was. The bride looked him dead in the eye and delivered the ultimate comeback. She stated that she was nobody special, but her father was the richest man in the world. Once again, the room exploded with laughter, even louder this time. The fiancé mockingly said that if her dad was the richest man in the world, then his dad must be the richest man in the universe. The officer, convinced she was a liar, prepared to arrest her on the spot. The groom's face turned pale as he read the document they had brought. He stammered that it was impossible. The officer announced that all the evidence, including the invoices from the Royal Hospital, was completely authentic. The bride was furious. She yelled that it was impossible, calling her rival a poor paralytic and questioning how she could afford treatment at the Royal Hospital. Her fiancé immediately agreed, laughing cruelly at his ex-fiancé. With tears in her eyes, she revealed the devastating truth. She questioned if it was a minor scrape. She had suffered over 30 broken bones and lay in the emergency room for 10 hours fighting for her life. It was a horrific sacrifice she had hidden from him, all because she was afraid he would worry. But her heartbreaking confession was met with scorn. He and his mother viciously mocked her, calling her a pathetic liar trying to win sympathy. Just as their taunts reached a peak, the police officer cut them off. He confirmed that she was telling the truth. He read from the official medical report, each word a hammer blow to the groom's arrogance, stating that the patient had suffered 33 fractures, a ruptured spine, and sciatic nerve damage, resulting in permanent, lifelong paralysis. The groom was struck dumb with shock. But his cunning new bride spotted a fatal flaw in the story. She sneered, pointing at the woman standing before them, and asked that if the report said she was paralyzed for life, then why was she standing there perfectly fine? The woman was accused of being a paralyzed cripple, faking her recovery to scam millions. At her own engagement party, her jealous rival arrived with the police, presenting forged medical documents. She claimed the woman's recovery was a lie and that the tens of millions in treatment fees were all part of a fraud. The evidence seemed overwhelming. Even her own fiancé, the CEO of the powerful Sterling Group, began to doubt her. He pulled her aside and asked if any of it was true. To prove her innocence, she made a bold claim that she would have the director of the prestigious Royal Hospital come and testify for her in person. Her rivals just laughed in her face. They claimed the hospital director was a VIP who served royalty, questioning how a nobody like her could possibly summon him. They mocked her, calling her a frog in a well, who did not know her place. But what they didn't know was that she was not a nobody. She made one simple phone call to her brother. She asked her brother for a favor, requesting he have the director of the Royal Hospital come over. On the other end, her brother immediately agreed, saying he would have his private jet bring the director right away. Seeing the tables turn, her fiancé smirked. He pulled her into a passionate kiss right in front of everyone, a bold declaration of his trust, and a slap in the face to their accusers. The rivals were furious and embarrassed, shouting that they were shameless. Humiliated, the rival made a desperate phone call of her own. She declared that was it, and ordered for the Sterling family to be blacklisted, stating she wanted them bankrupt. But the fiancé just laughed. He leaned into his wife and pretended to be terrified. He said, "Oh no, darling, I'm so scared," and sarcastically noted that this small time nobody said she was going to bankrupt his family. She played along, reassuring him that the Sterling family would not go bankrupt. And that is when the final truth was revealed. The woman they thought was a crippled fraud revealed her secret. She told the rival that she probably did not know how a mere cleaner like her became a billion-dollar CEO. She questioned if the rival thought she was powerful. She revealed it was her family who had secretly funded her all along because she had thought she was her friend, and that without her, the rival was nothing. Just as the rival's world came crashing down, a powerful man stormed in, shouting for them. It was the director of the Royal Hospital, and he had arrived in person to expose all their lies,